Min wiped the grease from his hands and checked the cargo manifest one more time. Station Meridian 7 was always busy, but today felt different. Ships from a dozen worlds crowded the docking bays, and the corridors buzzed with alien voices speaking languages he couldn't understand. He didn't care much about the politics. He just needed to finish his shift, collect his pay, and send it back to Earth where his sister needed it. The cargo container was heavier than expected. Min adjusted his grip and started walking through the main corridor. His tool belt jangled at his hip, full of wrenches and calibrators he'd need for the next job. Around him, aliens of every shape and size moved about their business. Some walked on two legs like him. Others floated or slithered. After 3 years on the station, he barely noticed any more. That's when it happened. Lyra turned the corner at the exact same moment, her mind elsewhere. She was thinking about the ceremony tomorrow, about the speech her father expected her to give. She didn't see the human until they collided. The impact wasn't hard, but it was enough. Min stumbled backward, his tool belt swinging wide. One of the metal clasps caught on something at Lyra's wrist. Time seemed to slow down. The ceremonial bracelet on Lyra's arm, a beautiful device that glowed with soft blue light, pulled away from her skin. She heard a crack. Min heard it too. They both watched as hairline fractures spread across the surface of the bracelet like ice breaking on a frozen lake. Then it shattered. The pieces didn't fall to the ground. Instead, they hung in the air for a heartbeat, glowing brighter and brighter. Lyra gasped. She tried to step back but couldn't move. Neither could Min. A wave of energy pulsed out from the broken bracelet, invisible to everyone else but overwhelming to the two of them. Min felt something rush into his mind. Thoughts that weren't his own. Feelings that came from somewhere else. Fear, shock, confusion, and beneath it all, a strange pulling sensation, like something was trying to connect two puzzle pieces that had never been meant to fit together. Lyra experienced the same thing but stronger. Her people were sensitive to mental connections. That's what the bracelet was for. It was supposed to bond her to her own mind, to help her grow into adulthood with clarity and purpose. But now it was broken, and instead of bonding with itself, it had created a bridge to someone else, to this human. The energy faded. The broken pieces of the bracelet clattered to the floor. Min blinked hard, trying to clear his head. He looked at the alien girl in front of him. She was tall and slender, with pale lavender skin and large eyes that held an expression of pure horror. "I'm so sorry," Min said quickly. "I didn't see you. Are you hurt?" Lyra stared at him. She could feel him. Not just see him or hear him, but actually feel what he was feeling. His genuine concern, his embarrassment, his worry about being late for work. It was all there in her mind, like whispers she couldn't shut out. "What have you done?" she whispered. Other aliens in the corridor had stopped to watch. A few pointed at the broken bracelet on the floor. Min saw their expressions change from curiosity to shock. He didn't understand why a broken bracelet was such a big deal, but he knew trouble when he saw it. "I can pay for it," he offered. "Whatever it costs, I'll work it off." "You can't pay for this," Lyra said. Her voice was shaking. You don't understand. That bracelet was sacred. It was bonded to me. And now it's bonded to you too." Min frowned. "Bonded? What does that mean?" Before Lyra could answer, a group of aliens in formal robes pushed through the crowd. They were like Lyra, but older, with markings on their faces that suggested authority. The leader, a stern-faced male with silver streaks in his hair, looked at the broken bracelet and then at Min with undisguised disgust. "Seize the human," he commanded. Two security guards moved forward. Min raised his hands. "Wait, it was an accident. I'll pay for damages." "This is not about payment," the official said coldly. "You have committed cultural contamination of the highest order. The penalty is severe." Lyra stepped between them. "Elder Vin, please, he didn't know. It was my fault. I wasn't watching where I was going." "Step aside, daughter of counselor," Elder Vin said. "This human has violated sacred law. He must face justice. But Lyra didn't move. She could feel Min's rising panic through their new connection. She could sense that he had no idea what he'd done wrong, that he was just trying to work an honest job, that he had someone back home depending on him. The bond showed her things about him in flashes. A younger girl in a hospital bed, bills piling up, endless shifts in the cargo bay. "The bond has already formed," Lyra said quietly. "Can't you feel it? The bracelet didn't just break, it transferred." Elder Vin's expression darkened. "All the more reason to end this quickly. The human will be detained until the counselor decides his fate. And you, Lyra, will return to your quarters immediately. Your father will be informed." The security guards grabbed Min's arms. He didn't resist, but through the bond, Lyra felt his fear spike. She also felt something else. Determination. This human wasn't going to give up easily, even if he didn't fully understand what was happening. As they dragged him away, Min looked back at her. Their eyes met, and for a moment the bond flared stronger. Lyra gasped as a flood of emotion hit her. Not anger or hatred, but genuine concern. He was worried about her, a complete stranger from another world, and he was worried about what would happen to her because of this accident. "I'm sorry," Min called out before they pulled him around a corner. Lyra stood in the corridor, staring at the broken pieces of her bracelet on the floor. Elder Vin was talking to her, saying something about honor and duty and the shame she had brought to her family. But she barely heard him. All she could focus on was the presence in her mind that hadn't been there an hour ago. The human, Min. She could still feel him even as they took him further away. The bond was real. It was growing. And according to everything she had been taught, if it wasn't completed properly or severed soon, it would kill her. She had 30 days at most. The crowd began to disperse. Station life returned to normal. But for Lyra and Min, nothing would ever be normal again. One tiny moment had altered everything, tying an alien girl's fate to a human neither of them had known existed just minutes before. And deep in the station's detention center, as Min sat in a cell wondering what had just happened to his life, he felt something impossible, a whisper of emotion that wasn't his own, someone else's fear mixing with his, someone else's determination rising to meet his. They were connected now, for better or worse, and the galaxy would never be the same. The detention cell was small and cold. Min sat on the metal bench and tried to make sense of what had happened. Every few minutes he felt something strange in his mind, little flickers of emotion that didn't belong to him. Fear, anger, sadness. He knew somehow that they came from the alien girl Lyra. Hours passed. No one came to explain anything. Min paced the cell trying to think. He needed to contact Ho, his friend who worked in the docking bay. Ho would know what to do, but the guards had taken his communication device. Then, just after midnight by station time, the cell door opened. Lyra stood there wearing a dark cloak with the hood up. Her eyes were wide and frightened, but her jaw was set with determination. Behind her, 2 guards lay unconscious on the floor. "We have to go," she said, "now." Min stared at her. "What did you do?" "I stunned them. I don't have much time to explain. My father's security team is coming for you. They're not going to arrest you, Min. They're going to kill you and make it look like an accident. I heard them talking. They think it's the only way to protect our family's honor." The bond pulsed between them, and Min knew she was telling the truth. He could feel her certainty, her fear for him. "Why are you helping me?" he asked. "Because this bond showed me something," Lyra said. "I can see your memories, your feelings. You're not what my people think humans are. You're just trying to survive and help your sister. You don't deserve to die for an accident." Min grabbed his tool belt from the evidence locker and followed her into the corridor. "Where do we go?" "I have access to the private docking bay. There's a cargo ship there. Can you pilot it?" "Barely," Min admitted, "but I know someone who can." They ran through the empty corridors, sticking to the maintenance passages that Min knew from his work. The bond helped them move in sync, each sensing when the other needed to slow down or speed up. It was strange and uncomfortable, but also useful. Ho was asleep in his quarters when they arrived. Min pounded on the door until his friend opened it, looking confused and annoyed. Ho was a former military pilot who had left Earth for reasons he never talked about. He took one look at Min's expression and immediately started putting on his boots. "How bad?" Ho asked. "Very bad," Min said. "I need you to fly us out of here." Ho noticed Lyra for the first time. His eyebrows went up. "Is that a counselor's daughter?" "Long story, can you help or not?" Ho grinned. "I was getting bored anyway, let's go." The three of them made it to the private docking bay without being spotted. The cargo ship Lyra had mentioned was small but looked fast. Ho walked around it once, nodding approvingly. "She'll do. Where are we going?" "Anywhere away from here," Lyra said. "The frontier sectors maybe, somewhere outside council jurisdiction." "The frontier is lawless space," Ho warned. "Pirates, smugglers, worse." "Better than certain death," Min said. They were strapping in when alarms started blaring. Red lights flashed throughout the docking bay. Ho's hands flew over the controls, starting the launch sequence. Through the viewport, they could see armed guards pouring into the bay. "Hold on," Ho said calmly. The ship lurched upward. Energy blasts hit the hull but didn't penetrate. Ho piloted them through the station's exit corridor with practiced ease, ignoring the traffic control warnings blaring over the radio. Within minutes, they had cleared the station and jumped to faster-than-light speed. In the sudden quiet of space, the three of them let out breath they'd been holding. "So," Ho said, "someone want to tell me why we just became fugitives?" Lyra explained about the bracelet, the bond, and the 30-day deadline. As she talked, Min felt her emotions through their connection. She was scared but also excited. For the first time in her life, she had made her own choice instead of following her father's orders. Ho listened carefully. When she finished, he was quiet for a moment. "I might know someone who can help," he said finally. "There's a human research colony in the frontier, Haven Colony, run by a scientist named Dr. Jin Park. She studies alien biology and human compatibility. If anyone can figure out your bond situation, it's her." "How do you know about this place?" Min asked. Ho smiled mysteriously. "I know lots of things. The coordinates are classified military information, but I may have borrowed them before I left the service." Over the next few days as they traveled, Min and Lyra learned to live with the bond. It was always there, a constant presence in the back of their minds. At first it was overwhelming. Min would be eating and suddenly taste something Lyra was remembering from her childhood. Lyra would be sleeping and wake up from Min's dreams about his sister. But slowly, they learned to control it, to open the connection when they wanted to communicate and close it when they needed privacy. It wasn't perfect, but it worked. Through the bond, they shared memories. Lyra saw Min's childhood on Earth, running through green fields with his sister Jin before she got sick. She felt his grief when their parents died in an accident, leaving him responsible for Jin's medical bills. She understood why he had come to the station, why he worked such long hours for such little pay. Min experienced Lyra's memories too. He saw her rigid, controlled life. Every day planned out by tutors and advisors. Every word she spoke in public carefully scripted. She had never made a real decision for herself until the moment she decided to save him. Her people valued honor and duty above everything else. Individual happiness didn't matter. "Your people think humans are dangerous," Min said one evening as they sat in the cargo hold. "We're taught that humans are unpredictable," Lyra said, "that you refuse to follow the natural order. Other species have their place in the galaxy. We all understand our roles, but humans, you keep trying to change things." "Is that so bad?" Lyra thought about it. Through the bond, Min felt her confusion. Everything she had been taught said yes, it was bad. Chaos and change led to destruction. but everything she was feeling through their connection said something different. "I don't know anymore," she admitted. "Before this bond, I would have said yes without thinking, but now I can feel what you feel, your hope for your sister, your refusal to give up even when things are impossible. It's not chaos, it's determination." "That's very human of you," Min said with a small smile. Lyra smiled back. It was the first real smile Min had seen from her. But their peace didn't last long. Ho called them to the cockpit, his expression serious. "We've got a problem. There's a ship following us. Fast attack class. It's been tracking us for the last 6 hours. "Pirates?" Min asked. "Worse, bounty hunter. The signature matches a ship called the Dark Star. It's registered to a hunter named. He's got a reputation for never losing a target." Lyra's face went pale. "My father hired him, he must have." "Can we outrun him?" Min asked. Ho shook his head. "Not in this cargo hauler, but Haven Colony is only 2 days away. If we can stay ahead of him that long, we might make it." The next 2 days were tense. The ship stayed just out of weapons range, following them like a shadow. Ho pushed their ship to maximum speed, coaxing every bit of power from the old engines. Min and Lyra took turns helping him, learning to work together through the bond to anticipate what needed to be done. On the second day, sensors picked up the Haven Colony signal. It was a small cluster of buildings on a remote moon, hidden behind an asteroid field. "That's our destination," Ho said. "Hold on, this is going to be rough." He dove into the asteroid field, weaving between the massive rocks with skill that made Min's stomach flip. Followed, but the bigger hunter ship wasn't as nimble. They gained precious distance. The colony's landing pad came into view. Ho brought them down hard, the ship's landing gear screaming in protest. Before they had even fully stopped, a woman in a white lab coat was running toward them. "Inside quickly," she shouted. "I'm Dr. Jin. We've been monitoring your approach. That hunter ship will be here in minutes." They ran into the colony's main building just as ship appeared over the horizon. But Haven Colony had defenses. Energy shields flickered to life, surrounding the entire facility. Dr. Jin led them deep into the research center. "You're safe for now," she said. "Those shields will hold for a while. Now tell me everything about this bond of yours." As Lyra explained their situation, Dr. Jin's eyes grew wider and wider. When Lyra finished, the doctor sat down heavily in a chair. "This is remarkable," she said quietly. "Do you understand what you've done? You've created something that shouldn't be possible. And if I'm right about what's happening, you've stumbled onto the biggest secret in the galaxy." Min and Lyra looked at each other through the bond, sharing the same thought. Their accidental collision had been just the beginning. Something much larger was at play, something that would change everything they thought they knew about humans, aliens, and the galaxy itself. Dr. Jin led them deeper into the research facility, past laboratories filled with equipment Min didn't recognize. The doctor moved with purpose, her mind clearly racing. Through the bond, Lyra could feel Min's confusion matching her own. "Sit down, both of you," Dr. Jin said, gesturing to chairs in her private office. The room was filled with data screens and old books, a strange mix of technology and tradition. "I need to run some scans on your neural patterns. Don't worry, it won't hurt." She placed small devices on their temples. The screens lit up with complex patterns of light and color. Dr. Jin studied them in silence for several minutes. Then she sat back, shaking her head in amazement. "It's exactly what I thought," she said. "Lyra, you're not dying, you're evolving." Lyra leaned forward. "What do you mean?" "The bracelet didn't malfunction when it broke. It did exactly what it was designed to do, just not in the way your people intended. Tell me, what do you know about the history of bonding bracelets?" "They're sacred," Lyra said. "Created by our ancestors thousands of years ago. They help us focus our minds as we come of age." Dr. Jin smiled sadly. "That's the story you've been told. The truth is very different. 20 years ago, I discovered something while studying ancient ruins on a dead planet. The bracelets aren't at all. They're human. Min blinked. That's impossible. Humans are barely in space. We're newcomers to the galaxy. That's what everyone believes, Dr. Jin said. But it's a lie. Humans have been in space for much longer than recorded history shows. We were here before most current civilizations, and we had abilities that terrified the elder species. She pulled up images on her screens, ancient structures, strange writing, devices that looked similar to Lyra's broken bracelet. Humans are the only species with natural neural plasticity, Dr. Jin continued. Our brains can adapt and form connections with almost anything. Other species need external devices to do what comes naturally to us. The bracelets, the mind links, the dream shares. All of them were from human technology found in ancient ruins. Why would they hide this? Lyra asked. Because human potential scared them, Dr. Jin said. A species that could bond naturally with anyone, adapt to any situation, refused to accept predetermined limits. That was dangerous to civilizations built on rigid hierarchy and control. So the elder species made a choice. They hunted humans to near extinction. Only a few colonies survived, hidden in remote places. Earth was one of them. Its population was monitored, controlled, kept small and isolated. Min felt anger rising in his chest. Why are you telling us this? Because you've done something that proves everything I've been trying to say for years. Min, when that bracelet broke, it didn't create a bond with Lyra. It activated your natural human ability. You bonded with her the same way ancient humans used to bond with each other and with other species. Completely, perfectly, naturally. But I didn't do anything, Min protested. It just happened. Exactly. It's instinct for you. For humans, bonding is as natural as breathing. Lyra's biology is responding to that. Her genes are adapting, changing. The bracelet was always a poor copy of what human biology can do naturally. Now that she's connected to the real thing, her body is trying to match it. Lyra touched her chest, feeling her heartbeat. Is that why I feel different, stronger? Yes. In a few more weeks, the transformation will be complete. You'll have all your abilities plus human neural flexibility. You'll be able to form temporary connections with others, something pure can't do. You'll be the first of a new kind of being. And Min, Lyra asked quietly. Dr. Jin looked at him. He'll be fine. Humans were made for this. The bond won't hurt him. If anything, it will make him stronger too. Bonded pairs share strength, skills, even lifespan. Ancient humans used to live much longer than modern ones because they bonded in groups, sharing vitality. Ho, who had been standing quietly by the door, spoke up. This is all fascinating, but we still have a bounty hunter outside and probably a fleet coming behind him. What do we do? Before Dr. Jin could answer, alarms blared throughout the facility. On the screens, they could see multiple ships dropping out of faster-than-light speed around the colony. Sleek warships, at least a dozen of them. They found us, Lyra whispered. Dr. Jin stood up quickly. We don't have much time. Min, Lyra, you need to understand something important. What you've created isn't just personal, it's political. If the galaxy learns that humans can naturally do what other species need technology for, it changes everything. Power structures, trade agreements, the entire social order. That's why they want to kill us, Min said. Yes, but it's also why you're valuable. There are others like me scattered across human colonies. Scientists, historians, people who know the truth. We've been gathering evidence for years. You're proof that our theories are right. Living proof. The building shook as weapons fire hit the shields. Through the windows, they could see soldiers preparing to breach the perimeter. I can upload my research to the human network, Dr. Jin said, her fingers flying over her computer. Even if they destroy this place, the information will survive. Others will know. What about us? Ho asked. There's an escape ship in the lower hangar. It's fast and stealthed. You might be able to slip past the blockade. Lyra grabbed Dr. Jin's arm. Come with us. The doctor smiled and shook her head. I'm old, child. I've spent my whole life searching for proof of what I believed. Now I've seen it. I'll stay and buy you time to escape. Besides, someone needs to show these peacocks what human determination looks like. More explosions rocked the building. The shields were failing. Go, Dr. Jin shouted. The upload is almost complete. When it's done, every human colony will know the truth. They'll know what you represent. Min, Lyra, and Ho ran for the lower hangar. Behind them, they could hear the sounds of the facility being torn apart. Min wanted to go back to help Dr. Jin, but through the bond, Lyra felt his thoughts and sent him a wave of calm. She made her choice, Lyra said as they ran. We have to make ours. The escape ship was small, barely big enough for 3 people. Ho took the pilot seat while Min and Lyra strapped in behind him. Through the hangar's open bay door, they could see the fleet surrounding the colony. The stealth systems will hide us, Ho said, but only if we move slowly. No sudden movements. He eased the ship out of the hangar. The stealth field flickered to life around them, making the ship nearly invisible to sensors. They drifted away from the colony at a crawl. On the screens, they watched as soldiers stormed Dr. Jin's facility. Energy weapons fired. Buildings collapsed. Min's fists clenched. All that knowledge, all that research being destroyed. But then something appeared on every screen in the ship. A message, broadcasting on all frequencies. This is Dr. Jin Park. I'm uploading 20 years of research to the human network. Evidence of humanity's true history. Proof that we were here first. Proof that human neural bonding is natural and powerful. The galaxy has lied to us but the truth cannot be destroyed. To all humans hearing this, remember who you really are. Remember what you're capable of. They feared us once. They will fear us again. The transmission ended. Through the viewport, Min saw one of the research buildings explode. Lyra reached over and took his hand. Through the bond, she shared her grief with his. They sat in silence as the colony fell behind them. Ho navigated through the fleet with agonizing slowness. Every second felt like an hour. If even one sensor swept their direction, the stealth field would fail. They would be captured or killed. But slowly, they made it past the blockade. Ho waited until they were clear before engaging the faster-than-light drive. The stars stretched and bent around them as they jumped away. Where do we go now? Min asked quietly. Dr. Jin sent me coordinates before we left, Ho said. Safe houses. Other human colonies that know the truth. We're not alone in this. Lyra looked at the 2 humans with her. Days ago, she had thought she understood the galaxy. Humans were simple, crude, dangerous. Her people were advanced, refined, superior. But the bond had shown her the truth. Humans weren't dangerous because they were violent. They were dangerous because they represented something the elder species couldn't control. Freedom, adaptability, the refusal to accept that anything was impossible. My father will be with that fleet, she said. When he sees Dr. Jin's transmission, he'll know I helped you escape. He'll know I chose you over my own people. Through the bond, Min felt her sadness, but he also felt her conviction. She didn't regret her choice. You're not choosing him over your people, Min said. You're choosing truth over lies. There's a difference. Lyra smiled. That's very human of me. Maybe that's not a bad thing. They sat together in the small ship, racing through the darkness of space. Behind them, a colony burned. Ahead of them, an uncertain future waited. But for the first time since the accident, neither of them felt alone. The bond connected them, but more than that, they shared a purpose now. The galaxy had built itself on a lie. And Min and Lyra, one human and one alien, were going to help tear that lie down, no matter what it cost them. The safe house was on a small moon called, hidden in a star system that didn't appear on official maps. Ho had brought them there using coordinates Dr. Jin had provided. The colony was tiny, maybe 200 people, all humans who knew the truth about their species' history. For 3 weeks, Min and Lyra lived among them. The colonists welcomed them carefully, knowing what they represented. Word of Dr. Jin's transmission had spread through the hidden human network. Everyone knew about the bonded pair, about the girl who was changing because of her connection to a human. And the change was real. Lyra could feel it happening every day. Her senses were sharper. Her mind worked faster. Most importantly, she could feel other people's emotions now, not just Min's. It was weak with others, nothing like the strong bond she shared with him, but it was there. Dr. Jin had been right. She was becoming something new. Min was changing too, though in different ways. The bond had given him some of Lyra's natural abilities. He could sense danger before it arrived. He could read people better. And he felt stronger, healthier than he ever had before. They were training together in the colony's small gym when Ho burst in, his face grave. "They've found us," he said. Long-range sensors picked up a fleet coming out of faster-than-light speed, 20 ships, maybe more. They'll be here in less than an hour. The colony's leader, a woman named Min, called an emergency meeting. Everyone gathered in the main hall, scared but determined. "We knew this might happen," Min said. Dr. Jin's transmission made waves. The council sees it as an act of war. They're not just hunting Lyra and Min anymore. They're hunting all of us. "We should evacuate," someone called out. "Scatter before they arrive." "There isn't time," Ho said. "Not everyone can get to the ships fast enough. And where would we go? They're tracking us somehow." Lyra stood up. Through the bond, Min felt her resolve even before she spoke. "They're tracking me," she said. "The bracelet created a unique energy signature. Technology can follow it. As long as I'm here, you're all in danger." "We're not handing you over," Min said firmly. "I'm not suggesting that. I'm saying I should face them, talk to them." "Lyra, they'll kill you," Min said. Through the bond, she shared her thoughts with him. She showed him what she'd been planning, what she'd been preparing for during their weeks at the colony. Min saw her reasoning and understood, even though he hated it. "My father is leading that fleet," Lyra said to the group. "I know him. He's not a monster. He's doing what he thinks is right based on what he's been taught. If I can show him the truth, if I can make him understand what I've become, maybe I can change his mind." "And if you can't?" someone asked. Lyra smiled sadly. "Then at least I'll buy you time to prepare defenses." Min nodded slowly. "We do have defenses. This colony has been preparing for war for a long time. We have weapons, shields, trained fighters. We're not helpless." "But we're outnumbered," Ho said. 20 ships against one small colony. We can fight, but we can't win." "Maybe we don't need to win," Min said, standing beside Lyra. "Maybe we just need to last long enough for her to get through to her father." "I'm going with you," he told Lyra through the bond. "No," she thought back, "it's too dangerous." "We're bonded. Where you go, I go. That's how this works." They argued silently through their connection while the colonists made preparations around them. Finally, Lyra gave in. She could feel that Min wouldn't be moved on this. His stubborn human determination again. An hour later, the fleet arrived. The ships were sleek and beautiful, gleaming in the light of the system's distant sun. They surrounded the moon, weapons charged but not firing. A communication came through. "This is Counselor of the High Council. We know you harbor fugitives. Send them out, and the rest of you will be allowed to leave peacefully." Min looked at Lyra. "Your choice." Lyra nodded. She and Min walked to the colony's landing pad. A small shuttle waited there. Ho would pilot them to the flagship. "If things go bad," Ho said quietly, "I'll get you out, I promise." "If things go bad," Lyra said, "get yourself out. Some of us need to survive to keep fighting." They boarded the shuttle and lifted off. The ships tracked their movement but didn't fire. Ho flew them to the largest vessel, a massive warship that served as Counselor's mobile command center. The docking bay was filled with armed guards. They surrounded the shuttle as soon as it landed. Lyra and Min stepped out slowly, hands visible and empty. The guards parted and Counselor walked through. He looked older than Min expected. Tall and imposing, yes, but there were lines of stress around his eyes. This was a father who hadn't slept well in weeks. "Daughter," said. His voice was cold, formal. "Father," Lyra replied. Through the bond, Min felt her pain. She had loved her father once despite everything. Part of her still did. "You have disgraced our family," continued. "Bonding with a human, helping him escape, spreading lies about our heritage. I should have you executed for treason." "Then why don't you?" Lyra asked calmly. His expression flickered. "Because you are still my daughter, because I hope you can be saved from this contamination." "Father, I'm not contaminated. I'm evolved. Look at me. Really look." Lyra stepped forward. The guards tensed but held up a hand to stop them. Lyra reached out and touched her father's arm. Through the partial bond she could now form with others, she sent him a pulse of what she was feeling. Love, sadness, understanding, and beneath it all, absolute certainty that she had made the right choice. Gasped and pulled back. What was that? That was the truth. Pure can't do what I just did. Our bracelets let us focus inward, but they cut us off from real connection with others. But now, because of my bond with Min, I can share feelings. I can truly understand people. That's impossible. It's human, Lyra said. Father, everything we've been taught is wrong. The humans didn't copy our technology. We theirs. They're not inferior. They're where we came from. All the elder species built themselves on human foundations, then tried to erase the evidence. These are the lies that terrorist scientists spread, said, but his voice was uncertain. Min spoke for the first time. Dr. Jin wasn't a terrorist. She was a scholar who spent her life searching for truth, and she found it. Your daughter is living proof. Looked at him with disgust. You speak of truth, human. Your kind has always been chaotic, refusing to follow order. Maybe that's because we remember what you tried to make the galaxy forget, Min said. That order without freedom is just another word for prison. Enough, said. He turned to his guards. Take them to the detention cells. The human will be executed. My daughter will be treated to remove the contamination. Lyra stepped in front of Min. No. If you want to hurt him, you'll have to go through me first. You would choose this human over your own people. I'm choosing truth over comfortable lies. There's a difference. For a moment, father and daughter stared at each other. Then's expression hardened. Take them both. The guards moved forward. Min prepared to fight, knowing it was hopeless. But then alarms blared throughout the ship. An officer ran up to. Counselor, the human colony is firing on our fleet. His eyes widened. They dare. On the nearest screen, they could see the battle beginning. The small moon's defenses, hidden until now, had activated. Energy weapons and missiles streaked toward the ships. It was a desperate attack, massively outnumbered, but the colonists were fighting anyway. Typical human foolishness, said. They can't win. No, Min said, watching the screens. But we can make you pay for every inch. That's what humans do. We never give up even when we should. Through the bond, Lyra felt Min's pride in his people, and she felt something else. The bond was pulsing, growing stronger. She looked at Min and knew he felt it too. Father, she said urgently, you need to stop this attack, right now, before it's too late. Too late for what? Lyra felt energy building inside her, responding to Min's emotions, to his connection with the humans fighting below. The bond was doing something new, something neither of them had experienced before. The bond is evolving, she said. I can feel it. We can feel it. And if your ships kill those people, if you destroy Min's kind while we're connected like this, I don't know what will happen. Hesitated. He could see something was different about his daughter. Her skin was glowing faintly. The air around her seemed to shimmer. What are you? He whispered. I'm what happens when you stop fighting evolution, Lyra said. "I'm what happens when two species actually try to understand each other. I'm the future, Father, and you can either accept it or be left behind." The bond flared brighter. Min gasped as he felt Lyra's power flowing through him, amplified by their connection. Every human on the colony below felt it too, a sudden surge of strength and determination. Counselor stared at his daughter, and for the first time, he saw her not as a child who had strayed, but as something new and powerful that he didn't understand. And in that moment, everything hung in balance. The light around Lyra grew brighter. Min could feel the energy coursing through their bond, wild and powerful. It wasn't hurting them, but it was building to something big. Counselor stepped back, fear crossing his face for the first time. "What is happening to you?" "I don't know," Lyra admitted. The glow pulsed in rhythm with her heartbeat. "But I can feel everyone, all the humans fighting down there, all the on your ships. They're connected to me through Min, through the bond. I can feel their fear, their anger, their hope." On the screens, the battle continued. The colony's defenses were holding for now, but the fleet was beginning to coordinate their attack. It wouldn't be long before the shields failed. "Father, please," Lyra said, "call off the attack. Let me show you what this bond really means, what humans really are." Looked torn. Around him, his officers waited for orders. The guards still had their weapons trained on Lyra and Min, but they looked uncertain. Their counselor's daughter was glowing like a star, and no one knew what that meant. "If I stop the attack," said slowly, "what guarantee do I have that you won't simply escape again?" "You have my word," Lyra said, "and something more." She reached out her hand toward her father. "Let me show you. Let me share what I've learned through this bond. If you still want to kill us after that, I won't resist." Min wanted to protest, but he trusted Lyra. Through the bond, he could feel her plan forming. It was risky, maybe even impossible, but it was their only chance. Stared at his daughter's outstretched hand for a long moment. Then, slowly, he reached out and took it. The energy that had been building inside Lyra surged outward, not violently, but like a wave of warm water. It flowed through and through him to every ship in the fleet. It flowed down to the colony, to every human fighting there. And through Min, it reached even further, touching humans across nearby systems. For one perfect moment, thousands of minds connected. Counselor gasped as memories flooded into him. Not just Lyra's memories, but Min's. He saw Earth through human eyes, felt the loss when Min's parents died, experienced the desperate love Min felt for his sister. And he saw more. He saw the memories Dr. Jin had uploaded, the evidence of humanity's ancient past flowing through Min's understanding. But it wasn't just information. It was feeling. Felt what it was like to be human, to refuse to give up even when logic said you should, to find hope in impossible situations, to value freedom over safety. And all across the fleet, others were experiencing the same thing. They felt the humans on the colony, ordinary people who had chosen to fight against overwhelming odds rather than surrender. They felt the bond between Lyra and Min, pure and strong and real. The connection lasted only a few seconds. Then Lyra pulled back, exhausted. The glow around her faded. She would have fallen, but Min caught her, holding her steady. Counselor stood frozen, his hand still extended. Tears were running down his face. "I felt it," he whispered. "All of it, the truth, the lies we've told ourselves for so long." He turned to his officers. "Cease fire, immediately. Pull all ships back from the colony." "Counselor," one officer asked, confused. "That's an order," his voice cracked like a whip. "Stand down now." The ships stopped firing. On the colony below, the humans hesitantly lowered their weapons. An uncertain silence fell across the battlefield. Looked at his daughter. "What have you done to me?" "I showed you what humans showed me," Lyra said softly. "The truth, that's all. The Council will never accept this. The elder species will see it as a threat." "Let them," Min said. We're not asking for permission anymore." Nodded slowly. He seemed older, suddenly tired. "You're right. We've been living in fear for so long we forgot how to do anything else. Fear of change, fear of chaos, fear of humans." He touched his chest, where his heart was still racing from the shared experience. "But I felt what you feel. That bond. It's not contamination. It's beautiful. It's what we lost when we created the bracelets, when we tried to control everything." Over the next hours, something remarkable happened. Called for a ceasefire and opened communications with the colony. Others who had felt the connection wanted to understand it better. Min, the colony leader, invited them down cautiously. Some refused, frightened by what they'd experienced. They left the fleet, racing back to there to report what had happened. But others stayed. They wanted to learn more. Ho found Min and Lyra, resting in a small room the colonists had given them. "Well," he said, "you've certainly made things interesting. Half the galaxy is talking about what happened here. Dr. Jin's transmission plus this mass bonding experience. People are scared." "Good," Min said. "Maybe fear will make them think." "Or make them attack," Ho countered. "I'm hearing reports of human colonies being threatened. The elder species are not happy." "They never will be," Lyra said. She was still weak from the energy she'd expended, but recovering. "That's not the point. The point is that the truth is out now. It can't be hidden anymore." 6 months passed. The galaxy changed in ways no one could have predicted. More humans and aliens attempted bonding. Some succeeded, creating new hybrid pairs like Lyra and Min. Others failed. The connections too weak or incompatible. But every success proved that humans could do naturally what other species needed technology for. Political alliances shifted. Some species, seeing the writing on the wall, chose to embrace the change. They formed partnerships with human colonies, trading knowledge and resources. Others retreated, building walls around their territories, refusing to accept the new reality. The Galactic Council fractured. Counselor led a reformist faction among the, arguing for integration rather than isolation. He faced fierce opposition but refused to back down. His daughter had shown him a better way, and he wouldn't forget it. Min's sister Jin was cured. With the money Min had saved and new resources from the human network, she received treatment that Earth's isolated medical system couldn't have provided. She was healthy, strong, and had joined the movement as a diplomat, using her brother's story to bridge gaps between species. And Lyra had become something the galaxy had never seen. Not fully human, but a perfect blend of both. Other hybrid pairs looked to her for guidance. She and Min had become symbols of what was possible when species worked together instead of against each other. They stood together now in a new place. The Academy of Integration, they called it. A space station built jointly by humans and the reformist aliens who believed in the bonding. Here, pairs came to learn how to control their connections, how to use them for good. "Do you ever regret it?" Min asked Lyra as they watched new students arrive. "That day in the corridor, if you could go back and avoid me, would you?" Lyra thought about it. Through the bond, Min could feel her considering the question seriously. Her old life had been comfortable in its way, predictable, safe. Now she lived in chaos and uncertainty. "No," she said finally. "That tiny moment changed everything. It broke my old life apart, but it gave me something real in return: purpose, connection, you." She took his hand, and the bond pulsed warm between them. "Besides," she added with a smile, "someone needs to keep you humans from getting too chaotic." Min laughed. Around them the academy bustled with life. Humans and aliens learning to bond, scientists studying the phenomenon, politicians negotiating new alliances. It was messy and complicated and sometimes frustrating. But it was also beautiful. A news broadcast played. Another colony had successfully bonded 5 human-alien pairs. The elder species were calling for sanctions. The reformists were celebrating. The galaxy was in upheaval. "They're coming," Ho said, walking up to them. "The Elder Fleet, 300 ships. They're going to try to shut this down by force." "Let them try," Lyra said. There was steel in her voice now, a combination of dignity and human stubbornness. "We've been preparing for this," Min added. "Every bonded pair in the galaxy knows what's at stake. We won't fight alone." Through their connection, they reached out to the network of bonded pairs they'd helped create. Hundreds of them, scattered across dozens of worlds. Each pair was a bridge between species, a living example that the old order was obsolete. The neural network pulsed with shared determination. If the elder species wanted war, they would get it. But not the kind they expected. Not violence and destruction, but something they feared even more. Unity, understanding, chain. 3 days later, the Elder Fleet arrived. Massive warships, weapons charged, ready to enforce the old order. They surrounded the academy, demanding surrender. Lyra and Min stood at the center of the station's command center. Beside them were hundreds of bonded pairs, linked together through a network of connections. Human, 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 and dozens of other combinations. "Now," Lyra said. Together, they opened their bonds, not just to each other but outward to everyone in range. The pulse that had connected a few thousand people months ago now reached millions. Every being in the Elder Fleet felt it. Every person on nearby planets experienced it. One moment of perfect empathy, one shared understanding. The fleet's commanders felt what it was like to be human, to struggle and adapt, to refuse impossible odds, but they also felt what it was like to be bonded, to have complete understanding between two beings. They felt the love between Lyra and Min, across hundreds of pairs. How do you fight against that? How do you destroy something so fundamentally right? The fleet didn't fire. Slowly, ship by ship, they stood down. Not everyone changed their minds. Some commanders retreated, vowing to return with more force, but others stayed, wanting to understand what they'd just experienced. The battle was won without a shot fired. In the command center, Min and Lyra collapsed into each other's arms, exhausted but alive. Around them, other bonded pairs did the same. They had shown the galaxy something it had forgotten. That connection was stronger than weapons. That understanding could change minds better than force. Counselor appeared on the screen, calling from his ship. "Daughter, you've done it. The elder species are in chaos. Some are calling for your execution. Others are calling you the future." "What do you call me, father?" Lyra asked. Smiled. It was the first real smile Min had seen on the old's face. "I call you my daughter, and I'm proud of you." The galaxy would never be the same. The old order was breaking down. New alliances were forming. Humans, hidden for so long, were stepping into the light, and at the center of it all was a bond formed by accident between a cargo hauler and a counselor's daughter. One tiny moment had altered everything. Min and Lyra stood at the viewing window, watching ships from 100 worlds arrive at the academy. Some came to learn. Some came to protest. All came because they couldn't ignore what was happening anymore. "Do you think we'll win?" Min asked. Lyra thought about it. "I think winning is the wrong question. This isn't about defeating the elder species. It's about showing everyone there's another way, a better way." "That's very human of you," Min said with a grin. "And very of you to worry about the outcome," Lyra countered. They laughed, and through their bond they shared the feeling. Joy mixed with uncertainty. Hope balanced with realism. It was complicated and messy, just like everything else they'd been through. But it was real, and it was theirs. The future was coming, whether the galaxy was ready or not, and it would be built on bonds like theirs, one connection at a time, one shared understanding at a time, one tiny moment at a time. Until eventually, the whole galaxy changed.